What's going on, everybody? It's Ted again here with CountdownToTheGeeks.com. Got another fantastic interview for you. Joining me from the upcoming horror thriller The Sound, which you can find on video on demand and in select theaters starting Friday, June 27th, is Marc Hills. How's it going, sir?
Hello, doing well, thank you.
Thank you for joining me. This was one of those films where you really have no idea where it's going. I like not understanding the plot of a lot of these indie projects, and I just love the roller coaster that you guys took us on. Tell us how you got involved with the sound.
My agents had sent me an audition for a role in a climbing movie. That's kind of all I knew about it in the beginning, about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I have a lot of climbing experience, and there was a part in that when you self-tape, which is how auditions are done mostly nowadays, there's a part where if there's some sort of like skill or activity required for the role, they'll ask you to talk about it. And I was so excited to talk about climbing. I was like, oh yeah, I climbed 12A outside and projecting 12B, projecting 13. Like I like just kind of rambled. Like I think my slate, I think that portion was as long as my actual scenes, which I think helped me. But then I got a call back and I had a few meetings with Brendan afterwards and we just really clicked. And I loved his vision for the film and I loved everything that he had, in mind for the project. And so yeah, he brought me on board. I was super happy about it.
I love that. Your enthusiasm really, got you into this one, which is fantastic. Speaking of Rachel before about this project, I had figured you guys would have had a great sort of rapport or camaraderie within this group because you guys are outdoors, you're shooting, it's a very physical film. And she kind of told me, yeah, you guys really had a blast making this. Kind of talk about the energy and the motivation behind the entire cast for this one.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with her. It was there was just a sense of adventure generally because we did two segments, and the first one was basically everything outdoors and in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole part of it kind of felt like just like a big giant camping trip, like a bunch of friends like outside hanging out and getting some sun, eating food. Like our catering was so insanely good. We were like eating this delicious barbecue outside in the sun. I was like, this is the coolest thing that any of us have ever done. Like that's how it felt for me at least. So yeah, and there was just like a sense of adventure because obviously we're creating these like really high stakes scenes outside. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was just a ton of fun. And then that energy sort of carried over, excuse me, into the second half of the shooting, which was everything on the sound stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all as a cast just became incredibly tight and loved the whole project.
I figured majority of the scenes would be on a soundstage or on a kind of a closed set, but how physically demanding was this role for you?
Um, for the most part, the climbing wasn't too physically demanding, to be honest, because it we did it in segments, right? So
Mm.
there were certain days where it was just a lot of repetitive climbing. It'd be like, okay, now climb this section. All right, do it again, but you're gonna slip here at this part or whatever, or do it and do a different sequence because we're gonna cheat this as a different part of the wall, even though I was climbing the same section of quote unquote rock, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So those parts that definitely there was a lot of volume that built up there, but the most strenuous part I'd say was the stunt sequences because there's a lot of stunts in the film. I'm not going to give anything away,
Thank you. Thank you.
but those days were just grueling. They were so long. And like, honestly, the most tiring part is getting in and out of the harnesses because your full body harness that has like a rope going through
Mm.
behind your neck and stuff, and just taking that on and off because it was that. And then over that was all of our costume and then a harness as well. So you're wearing like what feels like six harnesses. You have two harnesses on, but it's just like harness, harness, and clothes, and just getting in and out of that all day was exhausting.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible. But it sounds like you guys had a blast making it together as a cast. You were also lucky enough to share the only scenes with the legendary William
Yeah.
Fichtner. Talk to us about what you might have learned from him in those that short time that you kind of spent with him, or just what it's like to kind of work with him on some of those shots.
Well, he's a consummate professional. I mean, like you said, he's obviously this legend. And in my head, I had built him up very much because I love, Heat, Black Hawk Down. Like the guy is a legend.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
watched when The Dark Knight came out. I think I was in like high school. I don't know how old I was. I must have been like 16, 17. I don't know, maybe younger. And I that first sequence, the bank robbery sequence that he's in, which Christopher Nolan put him in because of his role in Heat,
Ooh,
where he plays
wow.
the evil banker, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I rewatched it on YouTube just over and over and over again. So when I found out that I was doing a scene with William Fichtner, I was like, "This is the greatest day of my life." And so in my head, he had been built up to this very elevated status. But the second we were on in our bus going to set, he was just the most down to earth, like friendly, relatable person, and I think that is part of his professionalism, where he definitely knows that he's the man. I mean, like based on his resume, like, but he just really has remained down to earth, incredibly friendly, incredibly professional. Just had, and it felt immediately like I was just talking to another actor on
Mm.
any film set, and so I think that was very inspiring. That no matter how far along you are in your career, no matter how well known you are, when you show up on set, like you're on set and you're doing your job. So yeah,
I love hearing that. We love hearing those type of stories where, even though we all hold them in very high regard, they're just, the most humblest of people. And
yes,
helping out the actors like yourself and being a part of roles like this, even though it's not a big role for him. His resume, as you mentioned, is just incredible. I think the first time I ever saw William in a film was Contact with Jodie Foster. And I will never forget the scenes that he's in because he's just that good.
yeah.
And he just elevates absolutely everything. All right. It's coming to the end of our interview, but I want to make sure I give you time to sell this movie. The film drops in select theaters Friday, June 27th, and on video on demand. But I want you to let folks know at home why they should go check out The Sound.
You should definitely check out The Sound if you're into any kind of action thriller film of any variety. It's set on a big wall, which is a really cool um, setting, and I think most people are kind of attracted to that concept of why would you climb a mountain to begin with? Why would you risk your life to begin with? And so it's that premise with paranormal horror, like supernatural thriller elements layered on top of it. So it's just a really cool, fun mix, and it'll raise your heart rate.
I will follow that up with I love the horror genre, and it's really hard to be new and innovative in the horror genre because it's all been done before. But I will say the very first time I've seen a lot of the sequences that you guys pulled off in this one. So congrats to you, congrats to Brendan, the entire cast, all the crew. I'm sure you guys worked terribly hard on this one, and it really paid off.
Yeah, we're
Mark,
really proud of it.
thanks so much for taking time to speak with me today, man.
Thank you for your time, Ted. I appreciate it. Great questions. Thanks.